All right, guys. Well, it looks like it is that time. So my name is Matthew Dufresne. I'm the account executive here at Law Ruler. I've been with the company for several years. Prior to this, I was helping law firms across the country improve their marketing and their intake process as a personal consultant. Law Ruler recruited me, and I've been here ever since. As somebody who has loved the program before I was working here, I was happy to join. I'm also joined by Nicholas Apollo, our marketing coordinator.
Yeah, my name is Nick, like Matthew said. I've been with the company for about 5 years. I've been in various roles, and now I am pushing along in our marketing strategies. Let you
Awesome.
take it away, Matthew.
Sounds good. Let's go ahead and let's dive in. So on today's agenda, we're going to be going over why and how to customize automations, not only to increase your conversion rates, also to increase client satisfaction. A lot of us and a lot of people I talk to only think about automations as being able to help their conversion process, but a lot of them don't know that it can also increase client satisfaction and give people a better client journey. So we're going to go over all of that today, and then we're going to do a quick recap of the Q&A session, wrap everything up, and end with the survey that you guys will be getting after the demo. It'll be sent straight to your email, so be on the lookout for that. It'll come with some good material for you as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's dive into the first part, which is the big question: why? Why customize automations? And now this is an important topic because a lot of people are like, why can't I just send out the same robotic material I've been sending out forever? Robotic material did work. In the early 2000s, the industry saw a big boom and success in just sending out automations. They didn't need to customize them, nor did they have the technology at that point to. The problem is that nowadays, everybody's getting bombarded and just sent thousands and thousands of emails and texts per year that are robotic marketing emails. Either they're generic, where they just say, hi, my name is Matthew from law firm A. Thank you for contacting us. Somebody will be with you momentarily. It doesn't work because what's important in today's day and age is all about customer journey. That customer journey is a phrase you're going to hear me bring up a lot because it's what matters. The business has shifted towards a customer-centric point of view versus the business-centric point of view that it was at just a few years ago. So where those old generic emails and texts used to work, you're not seeing as high of a conversion rate. When people switch from the generic material to the custom material, a lot of them, what they wind up seeing is about a 10% increase right off the bat in conversion and client satisfaction, such as your NPS scores. Would you agree, Nick?
Yeah, no. When it comes to customization, if it's not there, it's not going to convert.
Exactly, because all of us have probably gotten the email or the text message where it says, hi, my name, or it says, hi, this is law firm A. Thank you for contacting us. Please fill out this sheet. We don't like it. Even if you recognize it, it shows that you didn't have time in your day for me. And in the law industry, and this is specifically the legal industry I'm going to speak, because for some industries it still works. In the legal industry, if I'm contacting an attorney's office, I need to know I'm in good hands. I'm looking for somebody to help and walk me through that process.
And I can speak to this point. If I'm going down a list of attorneys looking for, potential counsel, if I don't feel that recognition, I'm probably going to just move on to the next person.
Exactly, because you're not just looking for a business when you're looking for an attorney. You're looking for a friend. You're going through a hard time. Nobody goes for an attorney and says, you know what, I'm having a great time. I need an attorney. It's always something that they need done. It's a painful process. I'm opening up a business. I need a business attorney. I just got into an accident. I need a PI attorney. I slipped and fell. I broke my arm. They need somebody they're going to feel is going to be there for them and work for them to get them the most money, or to take care of them the most they can. They're having a hard time. So what can customization help with? It can help with your conversion, and the reason for that is because, like I said, it adds to that client journey. What it does is the customization allows them to see, okay, this firm cares about me. This person wrote me back personally, because there's a lot of things you can do to make it look like a personal text message or email versus something being sent out. It's going to also increase your client satisfaction. When you're reaching out to people, they feel like they're being reached out personally. It builds more of a connection. It's what I try to teach people in sales that work for me all day long, is you need to have that customer connection. You cannot build customer connection through robotic emails, but you can build it through custom, carefully created automation. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how to customize that and what the important parts are to look for here in a minute. Now, at the end of the day, it's going to lead to more conversions. It's going to equal more money. It's going to give you more money in your pocket of bottom dollar. And ultimately, law firms, we are a business. We are here to make money. We're here to grow. That's why everybody got into this business, to help people, but also to make a good living. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's dive into it. So let's go over how to customize automations for conversion. The first part about this process that I'm going to reference is referencing the source. Your CRM, such as Law Ruler, if you guys already have us, or if this is something that we can do if you're looking into us, is reference the source. Our automation is some of the most innovative technology in the market, and it allows you to take information that we capture from the lead source and put that back into the text message to make it seem like a person's reaching out. So what you would do in this case is you would say, if you filled out, for example, let's say you had a Google pay-per-click campaign, it redirects your website, they filled out a contact form. You could tell in Law Ruler that they came from a Google pay-per-click and then they filled out your contact form. So you could say, hey Nick, thank you so much for filling out the contact us form on our website from our Google ad. I'm just reviewing your information from you, and I'll be reaching out to you shortly from this number. What that's doing is that's showing them that, oh, this person must have got my email because they know where it came from right off the bat. They're reviewing it. It makes sense that somebody's taking the time to review the why did you contact us section before reaching out to me further. This way they know if they're giving me the light of day. So that right off the bat, that lowers their red flags. It engages them, so they're not going down the list, because we live in such an instant gratification time of our lives that if somebody doesn't get back to me and actively engages me, I'm going to keep calling down that Google list till I find somebody who does. So that initial text, it looks personalized. I'm stopping. I'm not going to call the next person. I'm like, oh, this person's going to call me soon. Now, let's talk about the inflection of the automation. The inflection is extremely important. I've talked a lot about avoiding sounding robotic, so I'm not going to touch on that. But I want to touch more on the content and the attitude based on the case type. Your case type should help you write your copyright. There's certain key words that you should all look up to make people feel a certain way. Psychology plays a big part in marketing and in client satisfaction. You could put all of that into your automation if you're careful and you do it right. So for example, if you have a personal injury case and you're reaching out to them, let's say, you're reaching out to their new lead that comes out, you called them, they didn't answer, so now your automation's taking over to try to re-engage them. You don't want to be pushy. You don't want to say, hey, every 3 hours, hey Nick, why haven't you called back? Hey Nick, why haven't you called back? Hey Nick, why haven't you? They're going to block you. They're going to report your number. It's going to lose a customer, and all that's going to do is annoy somebody where they fill out a bad Google survey. Now, the attitude you should have is a professional attitude, but you want to have a comforting approach, because if you're a PI firm, they're reaching out to you, they want to feel like you care about their situation, because we've all been hurt. Every single person, when they're hurt, we all want the same thing. We want comfort. We want to feel taken care of. It's in our human nature. It's basic psychology. So what you can do in the automation and the inflection, you can say something like, hey Nick, thank you so much for filling out our website contact us form. I'm just reviewing information. I'm sorry to hear that you were in an accident. After reviewing, I'll call you from this number. I'd love to see if we can help you out. Those keywords like love to see, keywords like I'm sorry, all these things are making it to more of a you care about their situation, versus that if you don't do that and you just do the pushy route, hey Nick, when are you going to call back? Hey Nick, sorry I missed you. When are you going to call back? They know you don't care about them. You're just another number. And personally, before even going into the law industry, I've had this happen, and I didn't do business with that attorney. And I know, I've got people I speak to all day long that are sending those emails. When they switch to the kind of content that's based on their case type they take care of, you'd be surprised at how much their conversion increases, also how much their net promoter score increases. It's amazing when you make somebody feel valued. It's incredible. You'll see a lot more referrals, higher conversion, better Google reviews. Everything goes in an uptrending direction. Would you agree, Nick?
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
So do you have any experience with anything that's attitude based? Have you ever gotten an attitude based, like a content based text message?
Yeah. So in my experience, when I get a generic, message sent to me, it's more so maybe I'll glance at it. But if it says something like, if I were reaching out to a firm and I got a message that said, hey Nick, sorry to hear about your situation, XYZ. We're here for you. It just adds a level of personality that makes me want to trust that other party more. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And you said a key word there is trust. It builds trust. And you want your clients to trust you because they're going to get less turnaround time for you. Because if they trust you, they think that you know what you're doing, which you do know what you're doing. You're an attorney. It's hard to become an attorney. They're going to give you their business, and not only give you their business, but refer other people to you.
Yeah, and I will say, just from personal factors, that when when it comes to attorneys, trust is 200% important and does lead directly to referrals and continued business.
Absolutely. And then let's talk about the next part of this, which is the call to action. A call to action is important to have. So you don't want to be too pushy. Like a lot of people, their call to action will be, please call me, please call me, please call me. A lot of people, these days, unfortunately, we, especially from a younger generation, a lot of people have social anxiety. They don't want to call. So you need to open up multiple revenues. Multiple avenues of ways they can contact and interact with you. So when you're sending out a text message, programs like Law Ruler allow you to do more than to say, hey, can you call me? Your call to action could be something like, hey, I understand you're going through a stressful situation. I reviewed everything. I'm going to send you this brief questionnaire. Can you go ahead and fill it out for me? And then I'll review it further. I just want to make sure that we can help you out. You can send out that intake call to action, which is a nice one to have. You could say the call to action could be a passive call to action. You could say, hey, listen, I'm going to call you from this number. People think, oh, that's not a call to action. They're not doing anything, but they actually are. If they expect you to call, they are not going to pick up their phone and call another attorney. They're going to be waiting for your call, as long as you give them a reasonable expectation. So you could say like, hey, Nick, thank you again for filling out a contact us form on our website for Google ad. I'm just reviewing everything that you submitted. I'm going to be calling you shortly from this number. I look forward to speaking with you. That last part is important because how many of you, this is my favorite call to action. How many people, when they call, the first time their intake reps don't get through? Even though people submit a contact us form, you would think they would expect to be called and they would answer. They don't. People are dodging calls. Even if they submit forms, they don't answer the first time because they don't know if it's you. A text message that tells them, I'm going to be calling from this number, increases that first call answer rate exponentially because now they know what number to pick up. And the important part of that too is you're sending them text message automations. I cannot stress this enough. The content we are going over today in the customization of automation does not apply to email only campaigns. A lot of softwares out there can do email only. It's not a want, you need to send text message automations. 70% of people will immediately look at their text messages, even if they don't intend on responding.
Hey, Matthew, let me cut you off there for a second. Just looking at my phone right now, I have 58,861 unread emails.
That would drive me nuts.
And I have 4 unread text messages.
Exactly. But you still know what those text messages are, don't you?
I do. I already looked at them. I just haven't opened them yet.
Exactly. Even if you send somebody text, they don't respond, they don't open it right away, they get it, they know you contacted them.
Yep.
The text messaging is extremely important in the automations, and it's something that needs to be done. It's no longer a want. All right, so that's on the how to customize automations to increase your conversion. Let's go ahead and we're going to jump into when to send these out. So there's a lot of different times people send out automations, but there's a lot of times that people don't think about using automations. I'm an advocate where if you can customize them correctly, you can use automations to reduce a lot of your client outreach. New leads are obvious. Everybody does it for a new lead. That's the ones that come in to reach out right away, engage them. Great. The other parts you want to send out after you send an e-sign. A lot of firms are still having people manually call and waste time trying to call people. Hey, did you fill it out? Hey, did you fill it out? They don't answer their phone. If they didn't send an e-sign back to you, they're not going to answer their phone. It's easier to send a text message or email because what will happen is they might be working, they might be busy. You don't want to bother them. So what you can do is you can send those automated email campaigns, automated text message campaigns after you send the e-sign. So if you don't receive that retainer agreement back a day later, you could say because of a customized text saying, "Hey Nick, I was looking at your file. I didn't see that you had returned the retainer agreement that we spoke about. Did you have any questions? I'd love to help you out however we can to get you moving forward." And then you can even put those custom tailored pieces in there for your client base. So if you're PI and you know they're looking for that comfort, you can even put, hey Nick, I just wanted to follow up with you. I haven't received that e-sign back yet that we spoke about. I know you're going through a really hard time. You're in a lot of pain. I'd love to help you out. If you can, time is of the essence. I'd really like to get that back as soon as possible to get you moving through the process. Adding that extra piece in there where you say, they're in pain, it sympathizes with them. So they show, okay, you know what, he actually cares about. He wants to see me moving, and I know time in these cases, everything. After requesting documents, the same thing. It's the same thing as e-sign. Any unreachable clients. A lot of law firms that I've seen, especially small to medium size, large firms don't have this opportunity as much. This is more small to medium businesses because they just think they don't have the bandwidth for it. They will give up on a lead after 7 days of non-response. So if somebody reached out to you and then after 7 days, you called 3 times, you've sent 4 emails, 2 texts, you haven't gotten a hold of them, they'll put them out behind the barn, they'll shoot them and never think about them again. It's not the way to do it. Automations can re-engage those clients. There are companies out there that make money by re-engaging old leads. You can take their business model. There's nothing special they're doing. You can take their business model and do it yourself with a tool like Law Ruler, because you could send 14 to 45 day drip campaigns to re-engage those unreachable clients. Send content at that point. Try to re-engage them. Hey, I hope everything's okay. At 14 days, hey, it's been a while since I've heard from you, Nick, since you filled out our form. Is everything all right? I know you reached out to us about a PI case. Anything you can do to gauge a response, even if they tell you I'm not interested, getting that no is important, because until somebody says no, they are still a lead that you paid for. Leads are expensive. You're paying a lot of money for marketing, so do not let those go to waste. Create those drip campaigns, and you'll be surprised that it turns out a lot of those people you couldn't reach in the first 7 days, they'll convert. They just had something come up. They might have had a complication from an accident. If it's a probate case, they might have had a complication with health. They might be stressed out. They might be working. It's a lot of things that happen that we on the business end don't know. But if we just give up, we're not only losing out on money, we're letting those clients down because they reached out to us for help. And there's other parts where you could say there's anywhere you could think of adding automation, there's really a piece for it. It's not just the unreachable, it's people that you've already spent money on. A lot of people with marketing leads and automations, you've bought leads. Let's say you have a lead storage of 3,000 leads. People don't do anything with them. They just keep them somewhere and they never touch them again. Why not use a program like Law Ruler to send a text or an email out? You've already paid for those leads, so they're free for you. Why not just advertise your services a little bit? Like, hey, Nick, you reached out to us a while ago, or let's say you could filter through the ones who have gone through the case, completed the case with you. You can reach out and say, hey, Nick, it's been a while since we spoke. I just wanted to reach out, let you know, and thank you again for using our services. I wanted to let you know a little bit of new things that are happening with the firm. Where you can even tell them, like, hey, we have a new case type. Hey, we do this now. Anything you can do to stay on the top of their mind. Because what that will do, I'm not expecting you to convert a lot of those clients, but when you put them on top of your mind, when you put yourself on top of their mind, they're more likely to remember their journey with you and refer business your way. Because let's say they're at work the next day after they get that email and they're talking at lunch table, hey man, I was just in an accident. I'm really sorry. I don't know what to do. Hey, I did a really good, I had a really good experience with this attorney. She just emailed me to see how I was doing the other day. You should reach out to him. You'll be surprised by doing that how many more leads will come from referral sources. It's incredible. It's an incredible and valuable pool for you to use marketing automation for. All right. So that pretty much concludes how to use it to increase your conversion rates and generate new business. Now let's pivot and let's talk about how to use that custom automation to increase your client satisfaction. This is more talking about the journey after they show up and after they sign the retainer agreement, they become a case. A lot of people at that point, they stop the automation. They say, I don't really need automation. I don't need drip campaigns. I can do everything from this point. My paralegal doesn't mind calling people 25 times. Your paralegal minds. Every single person I've ever met for a paralegal, they absolutely hate it. It's actually funny. Whenever they sign up for that program, they're like, "Oh, thank God, I can automate this." With our software and with a lot of firms that I help out across the country, simple little changes can increase your client satisfaction dramatically. And it's really amazing to see that these little changes have such a big impact on people's lives. So what'll happen is you want to know how often to send these out. I'm going to go over the three different types of firm outreach, which is passive, pushy, passive, professional, and pushy, and what each one is important for. We also want to make sure, does the client feel taken care of? You want to make sure that each client throughout the entire time feels like you're taking care of them and you still care about them. For example, a lot of PI firms, when the client is in the treatment phase, they wait till the client reaches out to them to check in, or they'll check in once every 90 to 120 days. It doesn't create a good environment. What actually winds up happening, it's kind of funny, it's they'll stop going to their treatment. They'll say, "Oh, you know what, I must be done. I haven't been contacted." They'll stop going to treatment. They won't tell you either until you call 120 days out and you realize, oh, they stopped treatment 2 weeks ago. Why didn't the chiropractor call me? This is crazy. This way you can get in front of it. So there's a lot of things we can do there. So let's go ahead and let's dive into that subject. So when do you want to send out client satisfaction emails and texts? You want to send them out wherever you feel in your process there are long periods of time where nobody is reaching out to them. Those are normally the times where people start to develop a negative view on the attorney they're with. Those are the times where they start calling in for updates about their case and spamming your phone lines with existing client calls when your people should be taking care of new calls. So you want to send it out like your PI firm. Client treating is good. About every 15 days is a good sense to where you can send out like, "Hey Nick, this is Matthew from Law Firm A. Just wanted to reach out. I know you're still treating with the doctors. Just wanted to make sure you're doing okay. How's everything going?" That right there is going to make them feel like you reached out because you care about them, which you do. But it's also going to do something else. It's going to have them talk to you. Now they're going to not have to call you for an update about the case because they feel like they just talked to you. Plus, if they stop going to their treatment, now you know 30 days ahead of when you would have known if you didn't send out an automation. So now you're able to say, "Hey, you really need to, I'm sorry to hear that you didn't have a good experience. You really do need to go through your treatment still to make sure that, you're feeling okay." It's a big part of your situation. So you're able to really improve that client's journey because when they see that settlement check at the end, they need to see that they're not going to remember somebody who didn't contact them trying to earn them the most. They're just going to see a low number on the settlement check and go, "Oh, this attorney was terrible." So that email actually increased the NPS in the long run as well. There are other parts where you can send it out too, such as when you're awaiting court dates. Court dates are taking forever to attend, and by the time those dates come up, people don't show up because they forgot about them. It's been 3 months since they scheduled that court date. All you're doing is sending out 1 or 2 reminders. A lot of people don't show up because they're not engaged. They don't feel a part of the process. So you can send automated emails based on dates with our software to where you could say, let's say, I got a hearing scheduled 3 weeks in advance. I could send one, when I schedule it 3 weeks out, another one 2 weeks out, a week out, 3 days out, 2 days out. I can customize it like, "Hey, Nick, I went ahead and I scheduled." The first one can say, "Hey, Nick, we scheduled a deposition for 3 weeks out at this date. I just wanted to send you the confirmation. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to get this moving forward." They'll respond to that saying, "Thanks." The next time you talk to them, just give them like a little update. "Hey, just want to let you know we're approaching it. Looks like that's still a good date. Is everything still working out for you on that date?" It's engaging them in conversation. So the more you can engage them in that automatic conversation, the better, the better the client journey, the higher the net promoter score. And then that also keeps the clients in the know about their case. So that's the important part. Social security, disability, mass tort, family law, PI, all these industries that I've spoken to, their attorneys all complain about the same thing when they're talking about their cases. People call in all the time asking for updates. "Oh, where's my case? Oh, where's my case? Where's my case?" A lot of people are like, "Oh, a client portal will solve this." Client portals make it worse. Client portal makes it 10 times worse, because what happens is they can go on the client portal and they physically see that their case isn't moving, so they're more likely to call you. So that doesn't fix it. And think about it. If you were a client on a PI case, which takes a while, and you log into let's say you're done treating and you log into the client portal, it's been 60 days since that status of the case has moved. I'm going to be calling you a lot in that last month because I'm wondering, man, I'm done. Where's my money? Where's my case going? Because I can physically see something and it's on my phone at all times. I'm constantly calling you because I'm like, oh, it hasn't been updated. Oh, it hasn't been updated. I need to call them to get that updated, or I need to pressure them into moving faster. So it actually backfires on you. What helps, and what's been proven to help, is that custom tailored automation, because it looks like you're physically, it's not an app, it's not a robot doing it. And you make it look like you're physically reaching out to them about their case, which makes it feel to them like it's moving forward, even though it's taking the same time both ways. So, this case, you would be, let's say you're waiting for the settlement check, you're waiting to your PI case again, and you're waiting for the settlement to be agreed on and printed. Hey, Nick, just wanted to reach out and give me an update on your case. We're still waiting on the settlement to be approved. And those different statuses can trigger that automation inside a long ruler. So now it's going to increase their client satisfaction. They're not angry. They think the case is moving forward, and they feel like it's still a smooth process, even though it's taking the same amount of time that if you were to manually call them or put them in a client portal. So extremely important to keep clients in the know about their case status without giving them too much information. So you want to be able to send out that text messaging. Perfect. So now let's talk about how to write good content for client satisfaction. I mentioned this earlier. There's 3 different kinds of outreach, and I train a lot of salespeople on this very model. There's passive, there's professional, and there's pushy. Nick, have you ever had a pushy sales consultant before?
Yes. Haven't you?
I was going to say everybody has. What was your experience with them? Did it make you buy the product?
No, it didn't actually. I actually had a pushy salesperson just the other day. I was just at a retail store, and she just kept telling me what I wanted, and I said, no, this is what I want. I know what I'm looking for. I see what I'm looking for. And she said, no, push. I said, just, you know what? I'm just going to ignore it. If it had been a text message of a pushy sale, I would have deleted it. I wish it was, but it was in person.
It's easier to walk away from.
I wish it was, but it was in person.
And that's the thing. A lot of attorneys that I speak with, they're still in the gray area. They're being pushy. A lot, especially PI and mass tort and Social Security disability attorneys. They always like, the more contacts, the better. Keep calling them. I want you calling them 10 times a day. I don't care if they block our number. Call them until they block our number. All that's doing is angering people these days. We've got so many, a lot of people, the mentality used to be, oh, we're the only ones that'll help them. That's not true. You've got 1,000 other law firms right behind you trying to earn their business, and the ones that are not being pushy will earn their business. Now, you could still make recommendations without being pushy, because what would happen if that same salesperson, made you feel like it was the right move for you instead of telling you what you needed?
Well, I can just actually, what I was about to say was, if I receive, maybe a phone call and then a text message, and the text reads, that they understand what I'm dealing with and whatnot, and let me understand that I have a second to get back to them and think about what's going on. And then maybe if they reach out again, that's one thing. But to have the initial, know that they care about me, it would definitely increase my satisfaction.
Increase your satisfaction, and also increases the likelihood that you are to listen to recommendations they make.
Yes.
Because of that same, I guarantee you, because I've trained retail sales, if that same retail salesperson went to you and said, hey, Nick, what are you looking for? Oh, well, what's your situation? What's going on? Oh, well, you know what? I understand you're looking for that product, but I recommend that you do this. You're more likely to receive that recommendation.
I would hear them out, of course. Exactly.
And if they make those good points where you're like, they add value to you. So you come in thinking you know what you want, but they understood you. They agreed with what you wanted. They didn't try to sell you on something else, but then at the same time, they recommended something else. by hitting all of your pain points, and even one you didn't know you had, but because they discovered it, would you be more likely to buy that product and have a better experience?
Of course, wouldn't you?
Yeah, everybody would, and that's the dream. That's the way people need to behave, and that's what we need to bring to the legal industry. A lot of people leave that in the sales industry. They don't think that legal is sales. Legal is sales. Intake is sales, and I cannot stress that enough. It's something that I have brought to the industry. It's why I help increase clients' conversion rates. Because when you treat your intake department and you treat your client satisfaction department or your case management department as if you were customer service or sales oriented, you would be impressed by the amount of the satisfaction that your clients go through. Their journey increases exponentially, because if you're professional about it and you use the best phrases, let them know you care and you understand the situation, but you recommend they make the next step, they're more likely to listen and not ignore you.
Yeah,
Now,
and I can add one point to that. It's almost as if it allows you to be, and I don't know if everybody's familiar with the term active listening, but it's as if you're active listening to this potential client by hearing, you know what I mean? Matthew, does that make sense?
it makes perfect sense, and the way this translates into satisfaction, not only the intake side of things, but the client, the whole client satisfaction is, you guys are the experts. Everybody knows you're the experts. But if you're too pushy, you could come across as an expert. We all know-it-alls. Nobody listens to know-it-alls because it's just human nature to throw up red flags all day because of it. And the problem is, a lot of people don't think that they're coming off that way when they are. The best way to do this is to make slight recommendations and custom tailor automation to come off as professional, because automation, you have time to think about it and the way you're writing it. So a professional automation would be, okay, I'm going to call them once at most twice a day because they might be at work and I don't want to bother them. And I'm also going to send a text message out. Let's say in the satisfaction side of things, let's say it's a social security disability client that you want to recommend that they fill out this paperwork as soon as possible. You have a document they need to fill out for the administration, but you don't want them to wait on it because you need to get this paper in and you need to get this document in right away. If you just send them and say, hey, I need this right away, don't hesitate, do it now, they're more than likely going to ignore you, and they're going to take their time, just because it's almost like a child trying to listen to you telling them no. It doesn't work. You got to make the recommendation saying, hey, listen, I understand you're going through a lot. It's been a lengthy process. Bear with me. I understand your pain and you're frustrated. I need to get this form signed as soon as possible in order to get your case moving along to the next step and make sure that you're not waiting as long as you can. I want to make sure that you shorten that time. If you write a text message like that, see, it doesn't sound robotic. It sounds personable. People worry about it not sounding professional, but it sounds incredibly professional. And they're more likely to get that returned to you in what you would consider record time compared to what people are taking their time to now. Same thing with medical record requests too. If you're requesting medical records and you come off as pushy, I have worked with medical request processing people in hospitals. The pushier they are, they put you to the back of the list. People are like, why do people take forever to get back to me when I'm requesting medical records? It's because they've had a hard day, and they said, almost like the DMV, they say, yeah, they can wait. That's a phrase that has been in every hospital record room that I've been to. I have physically heard when they get those emails, they can wait. When you come off as professional, not only your client satisfaction goes up, because you can also send medical record automation. That's why I'm bringing this up with our system. You could send those automations as well to follow up a medical record request. If you come off as more professional, you're going to get those back so much quicker. Any documents request, it's amazing how much it opens up. But on the other side of things too, it comes off as passive. So we talked a lot about pushing. Let's talk about the passive side of things. We don't want to come off as passive, and then there's a nice the middle ground is professional. But if you come off as passive, what happens is people tend to think that you're not taking it as seriously. Like, you know what, do it when you want to. Don't ever say that. You don't want to. Some people say, like, because they're trying to like gain the client's confidence and respect, they'll come off, or they're worried about how the client will respond to something. They'll come off as too passive. They're not creating that call to action on every text or that call to action on every phone call. And what that's going to do is it's going to lead to the case dragging on, and it's going to lead to, unfortunately, times and their satisfaction because they think it's your fault it's taking longer. It's not. So we want to avoid being passive at all costs. All right. So that wraps up the client satisfaction side. And then the one thing I do want to touch on before we go into our Q&A, the most important part of this to make the client satisfaction into a valuable asset to your company is to send out an automated survey. With Law Ruler, the way we do this is you can send out a form where they can fill out and you can say, how satisfied were you? How did you like your service at Law Firm? They could hit yes or no. And with our conditional logic, if they hit yes, it'll send them to Google to leave a positive review. Google is incredible. You want to have as many Google reviews as you can. It's what's driving business today. Versus if they have a bad experience, Law Ruler can actually say no. It could send them an internal survey where you ask, what could you have done better? Keeps that survey off Google, so it makes sure that all the good ones are going to Google, all the negative ones are coming in internal. You'd be surprised at how much of a difference that makes. And the more you practice what we went over today, the more positive experiences and the more conversion you're going to have with your clients. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I want to dive in to a poll. Do you guys think that you have a bulletproof process currently compared to what we just talked about today? Do you guys feel like you do everything we talked about, or do you feel like there's room to improve? All right, it's kind of what I expected. And don't feel bad. A lot of people, everybody here responded no. I haven't gotten one yes, and that is the reason for that. Don't feel bad. Nobody does, and it's not your fault. We were never taught this in business school. We go to law school. You don't go to business school, and even in business school, they don't teach this stuff. It's something you have to learn while on the job, and that's what companies like ours are here to help you do. Law Ruler, we're here to help you learn this information. That's what these webinars are. That's the kind of knowledge I'm trying to bring to our clients to allow you to improve this process. So try some of the stuff out that we learned today. And I'd love to hear from you via email or any way really to see what worked, to see, my conversion increased by 10% just by sending out this extra text message. I'd love to hear from people.
Hey, Matthew, we got a question here. Somebody was asking from the technical side of things, where they would get started setting up automations through Law Ruler.
Sure. So you would get started setting up automations through Law Ruler by going to, if you already have a Law Ruler portal, the best step would be to contact your account manager, and they can walk you through it. You can also go to your little help button in the top left-hand side, and you'll see one of the click-by-click tutorials that we provide to you, and it'll say how to set up an automation. It'll walk you through how to set everything up there. If you're talking more about how do you come up with custom content, there's a lot of sources online, and your account manager, if you reach out to them, I'm sure they'd be happy to provide you with some of those or links to some of those. We always love to build better relationships with our clients. We are where we are today because of people that have our software, and we want you to be as successful as possible. So that's a great question. If you don't have Law Ruler, send me an email. You can email me at matthew.dufresne@lawruler.com. You guys should have that email after today's meeting when we send out that survey. Let me know and we can set up a demo. You can also go to lawruler.com and schedule a demo with me there. I'd be happy to show you more about our software and how it can help you with everything we talked about today. All right. So on that point, what I'd also like to bring on to you is just ask, does anybody want to learn more about how a legal CRM can help your firm, or do you guys already have a legal CRM that you're using? So that's the last question I want to ask. This way, if you guys do want help with that, I can reach out to you instead of having you go to the website. I could send you that invitation and you can schedule a meeting with me directly there. All right. And while we're filling that out, I'm going to move on to the Q&A section. So I'm going to open up the floor to any questions. Any questions you guys have, please feel free to put in the chat. I'm happy to answer anything and provide any feedback that I can. All right, I'm gonna leave a few more moments for a Q&A. Does anybody have any questions?
So I'll ask a question here, and I think we might have already touched on this, but if I say, know nothing about automation and best practices and wanted to implement this sort of thing for, like, say I had a firm, um, would Law Ruler be able to help me with that, from beginning to end? That's something that we deal with, right?
That is something that we deal with. So our account managers are equipped for that. And we also have some YouTube videos that can show you how to build the automations up.
Because as we
There's
know, there are a
also,
lot of firms out there that, even though they may be tech savvy, they're not necessarily automation savvy. We deal with that on a daily basis, but that's not something that, everybody else is dealing with.
exactly. That's what the account managers are especially good at. They're able to go in and see what content. I also, as somebody who handles a lot of relationships with our company, I always tell clients they can always reach out to me. I'm happy to help them build that copyright out and just happy to help provide any insight I can to their content. I've helped a lot of our clients take, even for example, I've had several attorneys send out text messages that were 3 paragraphs long. We took it back to 3 sentences,
Yeah.
and you'd be surprised at how much their client satisfaction increased.
Well, yeah, of course. And exactly my point. Okay. And then we have a question here. So what is, in your experience, advice on balancing automations versus live calls?
It's actually a really good question because you want to keep a healthy balance. So there's different cadences for different case types. So it all depends on what matter type that you have. For example, if your personal injury, your social security disability, your mass tort, you can do a little bit more live calls with the automation. So, an example for that would be you want to do a call instantly as they come in and a text message and an email. You want to do one a day after, 3 days after, 5 days after, 7 days after. You want to follow that routine up until about 14 days because you can be a little bit more aggressive as a PI because they're injured. The SOL dates run out. That there's running out of time for them to get treatment if they need treatment. Versus if you're a family law case, you actually want to do more calls, more automated calls, less automated text, because the last thing you want is somebody inquiring about a divorce case and their cell phone getting a text message saying, "Hi, this is Matthew calling you about your inquiry about a divorce." You don't want to send a text message that says that. So there's different ways you can do it based on the matter type. If you have questions about that, if you're already one of our clients, please let your account manager know. They can get in touch with me. I'm happy to give you specific advice about your case type and how you should set that up. All right, guys. Does anybody have any more questions today? Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to end the webinar for today. I appreciate everybody coming out. Thank you so much for spending the afternoon with me and Nick. I hope you guys learned some valuable information. Keep on the lookout for that survey again we're going to send out. We'd love to hear your feedback. And we look forward to chatting with you guys all on our next webinar.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.
See everyone next time. Bye.